All right, family. All right. Thank you for being with us. Listen, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong this morning. Software wanted to update everything else. We were trying to do our double team live stream like we normally do, and Facebook will not allow it this morning because of something that occurred earlier in the week, which we're going to touch on here in a few moments. But I wanted to say thank you for those of you who are paying attention and those of you who are watching. So let's get right into this so we can make up some time. We're going to expedite here. I'm going to keep it kind of short so HIL, we can get over to YouTube and do what we do. It's our Shabbat, and we want to make sure that we don't take anything away from the Father. But before we do that, I want to do this so that so that I can be accountable, because you know me, I'm going to be accountable, and I believe in staying accountable. Now, federal law allows citizens to use and reproduce, distribute, exhibit portions of copyrighted material under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. So you may see me doing some fair use on things today, and this is for the purposes of criticism, news reportings, parodies, whatever. We're not infringing on anyone's copyrights. We're not making fun of anyone. This is for teaching purposes and teaching purposes only. So I wanted to say that and get into this so that we can move right along. This is a situation that occurred earlier in the week, and so for those of you who know me, you know I'm pretty transparent. I don't hide much, and I'll tell you just about anything about me, about myself, my family, and how I grew up. Whatever, it doesn't really matter to me. And so because of that, I find it's necessary for me to be pretty transparent, because I don't have a buried treasure that I'm trying to hide from anybody or anything. I'm not going to pretend to be perfect, because that means that I am trying to be perfect, or I'm hiding something from someone. Why would I hide anything from man when everything that I do is going to be exposed before the Most High God of Israel anyway? So then today, we were trying to do two broadcasts into one. One to go to Facebook and the other one to go to YouTube, the teaching group HIL, and those who study with me. So when we get over there, guys, we're going to be talking about sexual immorality. We're going to break down the scriptures. We're going to dig it out, break it out, and I'm going to show you what's really going on with this sexual immorality thing that is really, really, really plaguing our society today and causing fits for a lot of us out here. So first of all, I want to say that me, myself, I am accountable, and I remain accountable, and Pastor Ben always talks about operating in excellence. And this is something that he always laid heavily on with Brother Carl and I, about operating in excellence. And so we walked in that, and we talked in that, and we still, even now, years later, we still operate in that fashion. Pastor Ben hasn't been our pastor for a number of years, but he's still our friend, and he'll always be Pastor Ben to me. So I have pastor friends that who are personal friends of mine. I have other ministers who minister right along with me, and to them I am accountable. But first and foremost, I'm accountable to the Most High God of Israel. And as his minister, I have to be accountable to everyone else who is around me, my brothers, my sisters, my natural brothers and sisters, my spiritual brothers and sisters, people who study with me in study groups, my students that I teach, people I call friends, even people I don't even know, good or bad. These are all people that I know, and I rely on them to hold my feet to the fire, especially when I get out of line. So this morning, I was in prayer at about 4 o'clock this morning. I went in from 4, and when I came out, it was about 6 or 6:30 or so. I don't really be checking the time, because I was in there, getting my pray on, and I was talking to the Father about some real things. I was repenting for some things and asking for forgiveness and asking him to be the director of my path and the guider of my feet, and to take care of my family and take care of my mom, and those are the kind of prayers I issue up. I got a wild life going on in my house, and I have to. This is the only way I can keep the demons at bay, is to stay in prayer and ask the Father to protect my house, and ask for ministering angels, to set themselves around my house so that no hurt, harm, or danger comes to anyone in my house. And so the Father reminded me of something that me and Brother Carl went through when we were in Southern California, Riverside, some years ago. And this is while we were working for Pastor Ben's company. Pastor Ben had a company where we used to go door to door, okay, for the Press Enterprise newspaper in Riverside. And on this particular day, we were in a neighborhood and we were mopping up the streets. Now, we go to door. I'd be going down one side of the street and he would go down the other side of the street, and we would meet at the corner, and then we would mop the houses on the corner side, because when you turn the corner, you got houses, maybe 2-3 houses on that, and then you turn the block and then you've got another row of 15, 20, 30 houses, however long it was. And this is what we would do, and he and I, we became a really good team working together, Brother Carl and I. And matter of fact, he was with me when I had my stroke and everything. So both of us, we were in this neighborhood. It was kind of a nice neighborhood. It wasn't a really ritzy neighborhood or anything, but it was a pretty nice neighborhood. And we were dressed in shirts and ties, nice slacks, comfortable shoes, things like that. And that's how we dressed every day, he and I. And most of you know me now. That's when I'm running around, that's how I get down, except when I'm at the house, I'm in sweats or whatever. But when I go out, I'm usually pretty presentable, if I'm not out, especially if I'm going to go out ministering or teaching or whatever, I'm not going to be like dressed up, and sometimes people here in this community say, why are you dressed up? And I'm like, I'm not dressed up. This is how I run around. You're dressed down. Anyway, on this particular day, when he and I were out there, we were in this neighborhood and a squad car pulled up, a police officer with a priest who was doing a ride along. Now, the officer got out and asked us for our identification. So when I started questioning him on what he was stopping us for, really, pressing him about it, he said an elderly woman was concerned because 2 black guys were in her neighborhood knocking on doors. Okay? Now, I'm going to say that again. He said an elderly woman was concerned because 2 black guys were in her neighborhood knocking on doors. Mind you, we have on shirts and ties. We have on slacks. We look like businessmen out there doing what we're doing because we're representing a newspaper, the Press Enterprise. Okay? We weren't in hoodies. We weren't in jeans. We weren't in sneakers. We were dressed very nicely and very professional. And this cop wanted us to get on the ground. And so I started challenging him from the outset, because, we were dressed. And I was challenging him because we didn't look like neighborhood thugs, and you can tell that we weren't lowlifes. And this dude was trying to put us on the ground. So he was trying to humiliate us by putting us on the ground, and I started pressing back. Okay? So even when he got my ID and everything, it was clear that we were being harassed. And so I challenged that priest, for not saying anything about it, because, you could see that this guy was trying to humiliate us. And I said, you're just going to stand there and let him treat us like this and not say anything, Father? And he says, well, I'm just riding along. I'm like, yeah, but you can clearly see that this is racially motivated here. We're not thugs. We're not out here, trying to do anything sideways. You can look at us and tell that we're the good guys. Okay, but he would not respond. He was a wet noodle. He just stayed there. Look, Carl, I know you remember this, and well, since I can't go live, you'll probably say something about it in the comments later. But and so I was challenging this priest on just standing there and not saying anything. And I can guarantee you guys about Riverside County, I'll tell you this about Southern California. If that priest hadn't been there, probably Carl and I both would have been shot. Because there would have been no one to say what we did not do. Okay, so by grace of the Most High God of Israel, I'm here today to tell you this story. Okay, and the Father reminded me of this when I was in prayer this morning, that this had occurred. Okay, so I had something very similar happen here in this town. Okay, over at Bruno's. Okay, just me and a Hispanic guy, but I had 3 Caucasian guys in my face trying to make it look like I did something that I didn't do. Okay, and I challenged them, all 3 of them on it, and I hear a lot of people saying that they're not racist, but they do racist stuff. Okay, and then I had a rant about it on Facebook. Okay, nobody flagged that one though. But anyway, so what happened was this officer ran my name and he found out that I had just got out of prison and that I was on parole. Right, and he tried to run with that, but he didn't have any grounds because he was because after me challenging him and talking to him in the way I was talking to him, I had him all shook up in the first place, and plus the priest was standing there, so he really didn't know how to respond, right? So he didn't have any grounds. And so he turns around and tells me I could take you in because there's a warrant for your arrest in North Carolina for not paying child support on your 8 kids, right? I started laughing and I started humiliating this joker, for his ignorance and his stupidity. Look, just because I have the same name as somebody doesn't mean that I'm that guy. Plus, I don't even have 8 biological kids, and I've never been to North Carolina. So, Carl, I know you remember this. But anyway, when we got back, we told Pastor Ben, and he started talking to us about operating in excellence. The reason why you guys are still standing here and because God was there with you, and you were operating in excellence. You weren't out there doing wrong and doing harm, and that's why you were able to come back where most people would not have come back. And you guys know this. So again, just because a person has the same name as you doesn't mean that you're the guilty party. And if you're not, don't respond to it, because it's not you. And so I'm saying that to say this, that I made a comment last week that there's a bunch of men who share the same name, and in this small community, a lot of people, took it to heart. Okay. I'm from bigger towns. I'm not used to a small community life, so I wasn't aware how this would affect that many people. And so to you guys who felt demeaned by what I said, I'm apologizing to you, because you didn't have anything to do with that. It had absolutely nothing to do with you. There's only one person here who had, because I'm talking about a phone number, not a Facebook account or a Twitter account or whatever. And one guy said to me that his account had gotten hacked the day before, and I apologized to him because I wasn't talking. And he took it pretty personal, and I don't think it was him. Because he was talking about his Facebook account, and I was talking about a telephone number. So he said his account got hacked, and I'm sorry your account got hacked, because I know there's idiots out there that do things like that. But it wasn't a Facebook or a Twitter or anything like that. This was a telephone number. So there's a gentleman that you share a name with out here in this community that practices. Okay, and that's just what it is. As a minister of the Most High God of Israel, I got to tell you what it is. It's sexual immorality, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But if it wasn't, whoever it was who had just gave up that phone and that number, it got assigned to me. Okay, and I just happen to be a guy who has a problem with pornography. Okay, I used to have a physical problem with pornography. Again, I'm transparent. I'll tell you, I don't have no problem with it, but I've been delivered from that. That's a demon. Okay. That's a demon of sexual immorality, and it's used to tear up and break down families. Okay. And it's used especially to sideline a man of God. Okay. So, if the devil can get you caught up in some madness, he'll make you feel ashamed and embarrassed, and then you won't even want to step out because you'll feel like you're inadequate, and you won't do what I'm doing right now because your heart is broken, and your sin is causing you to not want to step out and do what I'm doing right now. You won't apologize to people that you've offended. You won't carry the word of the Most High God. You won't get up and pray in the morning. You'll be shattered, and that's exactly what he wants you: broken and ineffective and out of his way. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be shattered. I'm not going to be broken. I'm going to be effective, and I'm going to call the devil what he is. He's a liar straight from the pit of hell, and he'll never have my soul. He can have yours, but he'll never have mine. And sexual immorality is a gateway to child victimization. I know it because it's happened to me. It's happened to my family members, and those of you who know me know I just went through this with a family member, my niece, just a few weeks back, having to run down to save her out of Manteca because of some pornographic sexual immorality. Okay, so that's why when I got that phone number, that's why I went through the roof. I said what I said out of hurt. I said it out of anger. Okay, and in this small town, it affected a lot of men who had nothing to do with that, and for that I apologize. Okay, I just want you guys to understand this. Listen, if someone says something and your name comes up, right, don't cop to that if it's not you. If the shoe doesn't fit, don't put the shoe on. There's a lot of Joe Lewises out there, but only one of them was a heavyweight champ. There's a lot of George Foremans out there, and that man has 8 sons, but they all can't cop to the fact that they're the heavyweight champ. Only their daddy was. Okay, there's a lot of Michael Jacksons out there. I went to school with one in Paris, but he can't say that he's like the Michael Jackson who did the moonwalk and came up with Thriller and beat it. He's just a dude that went to school with me. His name just happens to be Michael Jackson, but that's not his claim to fame. Okay, so just because your name might come up, don't cop to something if it's not you, right? Because we all know, in my hood, we know the first person who cops to it, he's usually the one that did it. Okay, so that's really how it goes down. All right, so I'll just say that I am controversial. I will be controversial. I was always controversial. My family can't stand me half the time because I'm so controversial. I don't play inside the lines, and I ride right here, and a ton of my family can't stand it, okay? Because I will call you on your BS, and I'll show you the scriptures that exposes your BS. Sexual immorality is a sin. It is of the devil, okay? Now, I'm not going to say what happened to my sisters at the hands of family members, but if any of you have seen my family picture, I've talked about this and shown this to you before, okay? So I'll just leave it right there. I don't play inside the lines, okay? So I'll say like this. If you don't like what I say, don't come to my page. If you don't like me being controversial, just unfriend me. You can block me. But when you flag my page because you got offended by something I said, that just shows your immaturity and your childishness. Social media, again, has given people the ability to be able to sit down and be keyboard warriors. I can sit in a room with people and watch them, 9 people in a room texting on the phone, and they're texting each other back and forth across the room. And some of them are sitting right next to each other. Are you kidding me? You can't pick your head up and tell a joke? You're texting everybody because you might say something that you don't want everybody else to hear. And so now you're hiding. And see, that's what happened with this telephone. Whoever had it was doing something in secret. You know, I'm sure you weren't doing this on the computer at home, because on the computer at home, everybody can see it. So on your phone. But here's the thing. You gave up the phone. And then you had all the information out there with your name and your address. What happened if a kid had gotten that phone? Some little boy, 11 or 12 years old, you would have ruined his life when those things started coming through. Because you know little boys, they're impressionable. He would have pushed the button and the thing would have came up, and God knows what he would have seen. Okay? I was deleting them. I was typing in stop, you know, but it wouldn't stop. It kept getting more and more and more and more and more. Okay, now, again, you know, I made a comment about you. I don't know this about you, and I apologize for that. You know, I don't know that about you, but I do know this much. You were involved in sexual immorality because it was coming to my phone. Okay, so I do know that. So the gentlemen who were offended by that, you know, again, I ask for your forgiveness because you didn't have anything to do with that. In this small community, your name just happened to get drug into that, and I do apologize for that. You know, I'm accountable to my friends and, you know, for my actions and things that I do. And so for that reason, I just want to say that that I'm sorry. I've had some my family didn't raise me this way. Trust me, my family didn't raise me this way. Okay, my family was so broken and so dysfunctional, you guys. All right, so I had some really notable men in my life that put me on this path, you know, because I was destined to be this kind of a minister. And the Father knew that I won't play safely inside the lines. Just like Christ did not play safely inside the lines. That's what got him on the cross, because he wouldn't play safely inside the lines like they wanted him to do. Right? So you guys, you have Casey Moeller to thank for this, you know, because, you know, she's a friend of mine, and she was the one that pretty much held my feet to the fire over this. Now, I don't agree with everything that she was saying to me, you know, but for the most part, you know, I did agree with it, you know, and I'm gonna tell you, when she and I were talking about it, this is what she looked like. That's what Casey looked like, you know, when she was talking, and she got heated about it because one of the gentlemen, whose name I'm not gonna mention the name, but she said that was related to a family member of hers, you know, and so I caused some familial hurt, and so that's the reason why I had to do what I'm doing right now, because I'm not out here trying to make enemies, right? Again, I am accountable. And if you ever are in a situation with me that I might say something that hurts your feelings, whatever, you know, talk to me about it. Get me in a private message, or if you know me personally, come talk to me about it. I'm not hard to listen to. I can take criticism and everything else. If I hurt your feelings, give me the opportunity to say I'm sorry and correct my behavior, because I might be doing something that I don't even know I'm doing. Like a lot of guys, I know that they're not racist, but they do racist things, and they don't know it. But when I point it out to them, then they're like, oh, wow, man, I didn't even know that I was affecting you that way, So I'm wise enough to bring that to someone's attention. Now, see, if they do it again, now I know it's intentional. Now I know you really meant to do it to hurt my feelings. But if you did it the first time, you maybe didn't even know. And unless I say something, how can I ever get you to see that so you can change your behavior? So give me the same opportunity if I say or do something to you, And if I'm playing outside the lines and you don't like the way I play outside the lines, you can always change it. You don't have to come to my Facebook page, but you don't have a right to restrict my free speech, because I'm not the only one who feels like this out here. Okay? And if I wasn't talking to you, and it wasn't someone then you didn't have a right to shut me down. And Facebook now won't let me stream because of what you did. Okay, so when all of you guys did that, okay, so you didn't see us as a people start going nuts on you guys when you were hanging us from trees. Okay, you didn't see us going nuts on you guys when you were sodomizing us during slavery. Oh, it's a real thing. It's called buck breaking. You can look up buck breaking and you will see that they got a black man tied to the ground and 4 or 5 white guys standing behind him, sodomizing him. It's called buck breaking. It's a real thing. It happened. Okay? I don't have to show you the pictures of you guys horrendously hanging us from trees. Hey, you didn't see us going crazy. What we did was that, a lot of them started marching and protesting and using the laws to get things switched around, right? So what you do is you talk to people that you have a problem with. Okay? Now, those people who were doing those things, as evil as they were, they're going to get theirs, and the Father says so. So, you'll find that this is just the way that it is. I was actually going to show you something, and that's why your screen went black. And I just didn't have it up because, like I said, everything that would go wrong went wrong, and I had to start over. Now, we're really late, and we're still going to do what we do. We just have to get there, and when we get there, we're going to make it all right. So only a couple more seconds here. I'm going to show them this, and then we're going to meet over on the YouTube side and do what we do on our Shabbat for the time that we have left, okay? And that's just how we're going to handle it, okay? So in this e-sword, let me see if this comes up. It's coming to today. Okay, so let me find it. This is a study from a few days ago, but it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Let's see. Was it? Oh, here we go. All right, so this is the one that I wanted to show you. Okay, so look at this. Paul gives a clear warning to those who anger the Most High. He said the works of the flesh are these: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like these. He said, I warned you of all this before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of the Most High God. Okay? Now, in the scriptures, it tells us that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, my word is established. That's what the Father said. So there's 4 different witnesses right there talking about this. You'll find it in Matthew, you'll find it in Mark, you'll find it in Luke, and right here in Galatians that we're looking at. Okay? So you got to know that if you're practicing this stuff, and you call yourself a Christian, and you're whacking your pud, you got a beautiful wife at home. That's where you're supposed to drop your seed. That's what the Father gave Adam Eve for. That's where he planted his seed, right? You are watching these people and these scientists, they're doing test tube babies and everything else. That is not God's plan. That is not the way things are supposed to be done. Okay, now you might say, well, a lot of women can't have children, so they got to do, this, that. Well, you know what? Sarah was the same way, but they didn't have test tubes back in those days. So what did Abraham do? Abraham prayed to the Most High, and the Most High opened up Sarah's womb. Okay, but see, you don't have the faith to do that, so you won't know to do that. You go to your doctor and let him artificially inseminate you. Okay, see, there's things that are man's technology, and then there's the Most High's technology. So you ride this horse any way you want to ride this horse. That's all up to you. All I'm saying is that I have people that I'm accountable to, and the people that I'm accountable to, they hold my feet to the fire, and for them is the reason why I do this. So HIL, I will see you guys over in the room, and we'll continue over and what we do. And then Facebook, you have a nice day.